Welcome to the Nerdarium. I'm your host, the Nerdling, and you're joining me for a look at a goat scene, greatest of all time. And today's scene is from the classic 1980s movie Brubaker. Before we go any further, I'm going to have to assume this is your first day on the internet, and for the love of all that's holy, please hit that like button and please subscribe to the channel. If you don't, the terrorists win. Brubaker, if you haven't seen it, is a 1980s prison drama starring Robert Redford that also has a great supporting cast with so many other class actors from that period, including Yaphet Kotto, Morgan Freeman, Joe Spinell, Murray Harrelson, Matt Clark, Emmet Walsh, David Keith, and Everett McGill. The movie was from director Stuart Rosenberg, who made a couple of truly remarkable movies that are cornerstones of pop culture, but he managed to squeeze them in between amongst equally forgettable crap that honestly, I can't even remember the names of most of them, and I only looked at IMDb 5 minutes ago. His good movies, however, included Cool Hand Luke in 1967.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
And the Amityville Horror in 1979.
Out. Get out.
Oh, don't worry, I'm going. Nominated for the Best Original Screenplay in the 1981 Academy Awards, Brubaker is a fictionalized version of a book called Accomplices to the Crime, The Arkansas Prison Scandal. But having not read it, I can't really comment on what's real and what's not, or if it's any good, and frankly, for the purposes of this video, none of that really matters. But hey, if you've read it, please leave me a comment below to stop me having to read it myself and just let me know how it was. The movie revolves around Robert Redford, who's at his Robert Redfordy best, an unspeakably beautiful yet rugged man who convincingly plays a prison warden who's been assigned to undertake the reformation of an Arkansas prison, and wanting to understand what's really going on, he goes into the prison undercover. It's one of the prisoners, and he finds out things are much, much worse than he had expected. The entire movie is a magnificent piece of work. The dialogue is really crisp, the acting is really good, the work behind it all, it just feels very convincing, and it's just a really magnificent period piece. So if you're a fan of the whole prison movie genre, and honestly, who isn't?
Joey, have you ever been in a Turkish prison?
Then this is a pretty grounded and brutal take on it. But the scene I want to look at is towards the end of the movie and almost entirely revolves around the acting chops of Yaphet Kotto, who creates a sense of menace and violence with a minimum of movements that took my breath away when I saw it as a kid and still impresses and scares the crap out of me now. The background of the scene is that an elderly black inmate, Abraham, has been killed to stop him from sharing what he knows with Brubaker, the new warden. Abraham is brutally tortured and then murdered and then hung from the warden's flagpole to send a message. However, his death leads to the discovery of multiple unmarked graves containing other prisoners who died more quietly and had the decency to not upset the apple cart. One of the trustees, a shitty racist called Huey, who is brilliantly and despicably played by the late Tim McIntire, comes into the trustees area and goes on a tirade about Abraham, saying that the privileged position they all enjoy is going to be ruined because of one old deaf fool.
One old damn deaf fools.
And that's when Kotto's character, Coombes, loses his shit. Yaphet Kotto was an amazing actor who died in March 2021, and this role was, for my money, one of his best in a period when he took on a succession of awesome roles in period pieces such as Blue Collar, Alien, and Brubaker. Not everyone's going to agree with me on this, but I believe this trend started some years earlier with Raid on Entebbe in 1976, where his take on President Idi Amin was both hilarious and menacing all at the same time. But probably a little bit like the real Idi Amin, come to think about it. Anyway, I think from all the scenes in all the roles in all the movies he was in, this one scene encapsulates his raw talent and sheer presence better than any other, as he says absolutely nothing, but in the space of 8 seconds he dominates the screen and, frankly, casts a terrifying shadow as he throws a table he's sitting at to one side, grabs and smashes a pool cue to create a makeshift weapon, and kicks everything out of his way so he can confront Huey. There's a tense standoff between Huey and Coombes where the other inmates look on, and Kotto knows that he's fighting a losing battle where, even if he wins, he loses, and he throws the pool cue down and stomps off. McIntire's acting in the scene as Huey is subtly awesome, and you can see the tension and arrogance and fear, and it feels like you can almost smell his sweat, and the scene winds down with Huey almost mumbling under his breath and leaving the groom having barely re-established his dominance down and stomps off, followed by Everett McGill, who I swear is going to be forced to give him some kind of, I don't know, prison yard relief to calm Huey down, but that's a whole side of prison life they don't address in this movie. Anyway, there you have it. An amazing scene by an amazing actor playing an amazing role in an amazing movie. What more could you want? Truly a go scene. Let me know what you think in the comments below, or hit me up on Twitter to call me a dickhead and tell me your favourite go scene so I can call you a dickhead. Till next time, keep on nerding on.